Yes, to our first discussion today, in a bid to ensure closer collaboration between the private sector and the state government in building strong business environment, the Nasarawa State Government is set to host the state's inaugural business summit in May. The investment summit, which is termed Diamond in the Rough, is set to bring together world-class business leaders and captains of industries to rub minds on the vast opportunities in the state. In full, it's going to be something very interesting. Diamond in the Rough, the making of an investment frontier, is a two-day event which will hold on the 11th and 12th on May. It will interest you to know that since the administration of Governor Abdullahi Sule, he has grown the internally generated revenue of that state. Exponential growth, I must tell you, more than 100%. And of course, attracting more $500 million in investments into key sectors within the last 3 years. Well, this is due to the improvement in the state's ease of doing business and, of course, investment promotion efforts. Well, joining me this Monday afternoon to do this live from Lafia is the #1 citizen of the state, the executive governor, His Excellency, Governor Abdullahi Sule. Good afternoon. It's good to see you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Happy Easter to you.
I wish you the same. Now, let's start with this exponential growth in IGR in your state. My last check, when you came in, it was about 7.8 billion. And as we speak, it's about 16 billion naira. What happened? Take us through what changed the face of things.
Well, it's a combination of so many things that have happened, starting with the fact that the first thing we did was really to go and realizing that we cannot continue to depend on the federal government for revenue. We started looking inwards. What do we need to do? So we took advantage of our proximity to the federal capital. We took advantage of new investments coming into the state and the rest of that. So it's a combination of so many things. But the first thing we did was to go back and consolidate our revenue, and say that by doing that, we were able to plug a lot of leakages that were in the system. And I think that took the bulk of the revenue that came in, so by plugging the leakages, we've been able now to see more revenue coming into the state. Two, by the time we adopted the TSA, we now consolidated all our revenue. We were able to see what is coming and it's coming from where. Three, we were able to reduce, multiple taxation by coming up with the legal frameworks. We went back to the House of Assembly and they gave us the opportunity, by coming out with the bill, which we have signed into laws, for ensuring that, companies are properly taxed. We are not overtaxing other people. So without really adopting new taxes or creating new taxes portfolios, we were able to move from the 2019 7.8 billion that you have mentioned to over 11 billion in 2020. And by 2021, with other revenues coming in, we are now able to go to 16.8 billion. That's what happened.
Interesting stuff, Your Excellency. Now, let's talk about the Nasarawa Economic Development Strategy, which you instituted 2009 to 2023. And part of it is this summit that is forthcoming. What's the level of implementation of this strategy?
I think first and foremost is to understand that what we did was to bring out knowledge, to bring into Nasarawa some knowledge that we don't have. Nasarawa State is usually considered, unfortunately, a civil service state. I think that's what I made on ground. And we said, no, we are more than that. We cannot continue to adopt a name of civil service state, which means it's a state that is only concerned about civil servants. We said it's a state with great potentials. So we look at all those potentials and we consolidated them into a report. And at the end of the day, we brought consultants who understand how to put those kind of reports. And they were able to put the reports together. And now we formed the document called the Nasarawa Economic Development Strategy. After doing that, we now brought in people with a lot of experience who can help us develop that. One of such people was Professor Konya Jai, from Ogun State and living in Lagos, an economic lawyer. So we brought him to chair that committee. And then, of course, we were able to get Dr. The PLU, the special advisor to the president on economic affairs. He also participated in joining that. We brought in Dr. Lazarus Angbazu, who was the former president of GE. So those were the kind of names that we brought in to help us and then define the direction on the implementation. And they were able to do that. So in a nutshell, I will tell you that we have gone far beyond 50% of the implementation of that, because by coming out with the legal framework, by implementing the new companies that we are going to do that, but by providing the atmosphere for investors to come, we have been able to see, over $500 million in promises as well as in pure investment that came in through the Dangote Group, through the Asman, through the flour mills group, all those ones, that were able to come in, and to bring in their investments, coming in to create employment opportunities for our youth and then improve our revenue base. Then we were able to look at the various other companies that came in for the technology village that we are having in Karu. And I think you have seen a lot of the other revenue-bearing agencies and infrastructures that we have built, the bus terminals that we have done, some of the roads we constructed, and the rest of that. Everything that is going to be able to generate revenue, we concentrated in those areas and then create employment for our people and make impact in the economy of the state.
Now, let's stay with this forthcoming conference, investment summit, yes, 11th and 12th of May. Now, let's stay with the theme, Your Excellency, Diamond in the Rough. Why did you choose this, the making of an investment frontier? Tell us more about this.
Well, I think I answered it in the last statement by saying that, unfortunately, Nasarawa State is being seen as a civil service state, which is not.
Please.
Nasarawa State is a state with great potentials. And so that's why we say it's a diamond in the rough, because in reality, it's a state with great potentials in the area of agriculture, with the best kind of soil that you can find that can grow so many kinds of crops. So Nasarawa State is one place where today we are the second largest producer of yams in the country. Today, we are number one in sesame production in the country. Today, if you look at it in the area of rice, we are number 5 in the country in rice production. And you can go on and on and on. And then, of course, we have some of these minerals that are some of the best that you can find. We have the best coal because it's a coking coal that we have in the state, which is yet to be known. We have some amounts of gold that we are now determining the quantity before we can invite a major investor. We are now in the production, actually, a mining of lead, zinc, and barite, all in the states, that we are doing. So it's a state with great potential that we are not yet explored, and that's why we are exploring them. So we are telling people that it's a new investment destination, and that's the whole idea about having this investment summit.
Mr. Governor, what are your expectations? Because you told us about, in recent times, that about $500 million came in on investments and all of that. What are your expectations as we move towards the summit?
Our expectation actually is to triple whatever we already had. And the reason is because the great potentials are there. The potentials in mining have not yet even indicated. The potentials that we have in housing because of our proximity to the federal capital. We have now selected about 13,000 hectares of land that is just only 5 kilometers away from Maitama in Abuja, which once actually explode, then that creates a new frontier completely when it comes to housing, factories, and all kinds of industrialization for Abuja. And it is right there. So that is the kind of thing that we are expecting. So we are expecting 3 times what we have already had in the state. And those are the issues. And what will that mean? Development in the state, employment opportunities for the people, and then return on investment. Because Nasarawa State, is a state that is relatively peaceful in the northern part of the country. As a result of that, I know that is exactly what investors are looking for. Investors are looking for safe haven, where they can actually come in, carry out their investments. The people are very peaceful. We have potential employment opportunities, for the people. We have all these institutions, federal university, state university, federal polytechnic, state polytechnic, vocational centers, all the places that are graduating potential workers for all these people. So those are the kinds of things that we said. So it's actually an investment haven, for anybody who wants to come in and invest.
Making Nasarawa State an investment hub sounds very good, but Your Excellency, let me ask you, what about the legal frameworks and backings for all these investments? How are you working to make this also actually achievable?
Coming from the private sector, I know a lot of the difficulties we went through. When I will start with the oil and gas sector. When I worked for a company in the US that was interested in investing in various countries, I realized the difficulties we had when we went to Ukraine, for instance, to invest and do oil and gas activities, Angola, for instance, and even Nigeria when we came into Nigeria. Now, coming back to work for Dangote, and then I realized also the difficulties Dangote faced in so many other places, even within Nigeria, to go and invest. Difficulties with government, difficulties with communities, and the rest of that. So, and then we are bringing this experience now to say that in Nasarawa State, we must have framework that will avoid all these challenges that investors actually have. And that's what we try to do. So first, we created a one-stop shop. So investors coming in to invest in Nasarawa State do not have to go from one ministry to the other. They just have to come to a place called NASIDA. NASIDA will hand carry them to ensure that all the registration processes, all the permits they require, everything is there. When people are acquiring land in Nasarawa State, we want to be involved because we have what we call NAGIS. NAGIS is equivalent of AGIS in Abuja, that has done all the mapping in Nasarawa State. They know where every location is. They know the best location for what kind of project you are going to have. We'll guide you to be able to do that. So government would hand carry you and pick you and show you and then give you. And a good example is recently when Olam said they wanted to invest $100 million, for having a factory. We showed to Olam 5 different sites and gave them the opportunity to select, and they selected the one they needed. Those are the kinds of things that we try to do. So government is participating to establish relationship with the communities where these factories or where these businesses will be located, and government will play some kind of guarantee. And we are willing to go into PPP with a lot of other companies where our equity could be in form of the land that we are providing or some kind of infrastructure. Those are the kind of things we are trying to do in order to protect the investors and make sure the investors are comfortable, that their investment is safe.
All right, let's move on quickly. Now, I want to ask you, His Excellency, many will say we have conferences, we have summits going on here and there. There's something very special about this. Can you tell us, and what kind of people are you also expecting to come into Nasarawa State during the 11th and, of course, the 12th of May?
Okay, we had a little bit of a network issue.
Okay, I'm talking about...
Okay. We had a little bit of...
Okay, can you hear me now, His Excellency?
Yes.
Okay, I'm saying that something will definitely be different about this conference. Agreements and deals will be signed or what immediately? Tell us that thing that makes it stand out. And what kind of people are you expecting to come into the state between 11th and 12th of next month?
Yeah, thank you very much. If I understand your question, honestly, see, that's why we say we are trying to bring our experiences. I have attended so many economic summits all over, and then the whole thing begins and ends with the end of the summit, and nothing happens. And maybe some MOUs have been signed, and then that's it, no follow-up, nothing whatsoever. And so nothing happens, so it's total waste of time. Or I have seen trips made by various governments, to go and say we are looking for investments from this country and that country. And they go and sign MOUs and come back and nothing happens. We don't have that kind of money in Nasarawa State. So we are very, very careful about where we are going to spend our money. So that's why the first thing to look at when we came to the summit, we say it's not going to be an economic summit of generality. It's going to be an investment summit. So we are selecting 2 key areas that we know we have strong competitive advantage: agriculture and mining. And we are selecting those who will participate in that summit. So people that we strongly believe have the interest in those kind of areas, people that probably have already, started contacting us into those areas. So investors that we believe are looking forward to real investment, not some briefcase investors, real investors that are into that. So that's the reason why we are bringing all these kinds of people to come in. We sign the MOU, we take them to the location. We assign somebody who follows up. And then if we assign any particular area to any investor, and then we don't see seriousness after a while, we bring somebody else. So those are the kind of MOUs we're signing. We're not signing an open-ended MOU. We're signing an MOU for a specific time that if you come in and go into this MOU and you are not able to perform within this period, this MOU becomes null and void. We're just going to go into some other areas. Those are the kinds of things we're trying to do. So I think that's what makes this particular summit different from the other summits. I have attended over 50 economic summits, both within the country and outside the country, and I have seen a lot of them actually is just summit that begins and ends at the end of the summit.
Your Excellency, this is a time where states really need to look inwards as allocation is dwindling. We see what's happening with subsidy and all of that. So what are you saying? Do you agree that states need to actually look inwards and develop IGR at this time? Do you agree to that sentiment?
I agree with you 100%. If there is something more than 100%, I agree with you. And I think, in fact, it's understatement to even mention agree. I think every state must seriously get on its toes and begin to look at how to generate their own revenue. We cannot continue to rely on the federal government and federal allocation. In fact, from my experience, I have seen oil prices as low as $9 in 1999. I have seen it go to above $160. So Nigeria relies over 90% of oil. Therefore, it is a non-reliable source of income. So for that reason, we have the great potentials in the country. And I think every state has one kind of potentials or the other. If we take them seriously, it's more than anything that you can think of. So I agree with you 100%.
Before I let you go, it's an opportunity having you, His Excellency. Tell us about some of your projects. We know there are a lot of projects being done, that will impact on day-to-day lives of the Nasarawa people. Take us through some major historic ones that you like Nigerians to hear of.
Well, the major ones I like are the ones that will generate revenue. That is number one. The ones
That's interesting.
The ones that will create employment opportunities for us. We came in, for instance, I met a project almost completed that is at the center of Abuja. In fact, next to the Eagle Square. You will see now they call it Blue Shield Hotel, and that is owned by Nasarawa State. So we completed everything, went into an agreement with a third party that knows how to run hotels, and today is one of the busiest hotels that you can find at the center of town. Next, some of these bus terminals that we have built. We built one right here in Lafia. We built the bigger one in Abuja, and then that's the one in Karu. And that one is extremely busy right now, from what you can see. We have also converted some of our major projects that are just lying down there, like our VIP hotels here in Lafia, which is one of the busiest hotels today. We have done that. We have also constructed some major roads that leading into some of the mining areas. We have constructed the one from Mararaba to Udege, in order to open up the area where tin, lead, and zinc are being mined. We have also come ahead to build another one, to open up the Fanurua project that led into federal government constructing a dam in the area and creating the tourism haven in that area. So we have all done that. Now, we have concentrated a lot in the area of education. We built a lot. Now, recently we concluded the construction and the commissioning by Mr. President of the Vocational Technical Education Center so that we can train some of our people and train them, give them skills. A lot of our people, a lot of our own youth actually graduate with courses that they are not able to get jobs, so that we can actually give them some kind of skill in various areas, fitter machinists, auto mechanics, welding, fabrication, carpentry, joinery, and the rest of that, so that they will be able to get some skills and do something for themselves. So, and we have them now all over the place. We are concentrating on science education, healthcare. We have done so. So it's just a lot for me to be able to lay down.
Indeed, it's a lot. I must thank you, Mr. Governor. We hope to be in Nasarawa to see some of these projects. Yes, we read and hear a lot about them. So we would also be at the investment summit and report it, and also see all the deals that will be signed, how we cross the T's and dot the I's. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Star Monday. We really appreciate this, and we wish you the best. Governor Abdullahi Sibide, live from Nasarawa State. Thank you, Excellency.